Hey guys, David here to go over some of the movements for our workout today, Monday, March 30th. Our first movement for our warm-up is going to be 10 squats with a thoracic rotation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about creating extension through my spine as much as I can here. So knees out, torso nice and tall. I'm going to ride into a controlled and active bottom position. Again, you can see my back is an extension. I like to drop one arm to block against that bottom knee. And then I'm going to reach and rotate through that position, hold for a 1 beat, and then come back to the middle, hold for a 1 beat. Be really active both in driving your legs out and trying to keep your back in as much extension as you can. Then come back up to the top and repeat. As you warm up into that, try to go a little bit deeper into those rotations and maybe spend a little bit longer there if you have trouble with that position. After that, we've got the 6 side plank rotations. Take your time with these. Make sure that this bottom arm is articulating really intentionally, so don't just kind of cram through this thing. Think about a nice reach here. I'm going to slowly come down. I want to be able to hold this bottom position under control, change direction, come back up, establish a good top position. So with these, you're going to get more out of going slower and spending more time in that side plank position with that rotation. So take your time. And then the third movement is going to be a bent over row. So you might have a light dumbbell. You might have like a larger water bottle. If you can do this just with one arm, if you only have one heavy thing. I'm going to hinge over, make sure that my back is an extension, and then basically just bring my arm out about armpit level to about my back level, maybe just slightly above, and then come back down with control. Play around with the rep range, so if you have something that's relatively light, bring the reps up. You can go as high as 20 reps or so if you need on this. Other ideas, if you have like a TheraBand at home or something like this, you can replicate this a few different ways. You can hinge over and do the same extension with the bands. You can do it one-sided and then hit both sides. So some variations there to play with. For our strength segment, we've got 2 different exercises, a 1-arm row with your kettlebell or dumbbell, and then some goblet Cossack squats. So for the first exercise, you'll take as heavy as of a thing you have, whether it's your dumbbell, kettlebell, or something else at home. You can do kind of a 3-point rope support position here. So I've got my hand on a bench or chair. I'm going to grab my dumbbell. You might be pulling from the floor. You might be pulling from the hang. It's up to you and how much control you have and what your floor situation is down there. So I'm basically going to come up to the top. I'm going to hold for 1 count, and I'm going to slowly come back down. Okay. A couple of different options here. If you want to keep your shoulder down and packed, that's fine. We usually teach that variation. If you have a little bit lighter weight and you want to play with kind of letting your shoulder roll forward and starting with that retraction, depression through your shoulder girdle and then following through into the row, as long as you're doing that with control, you can kind of play around that. Again, if you've got a little bit lighter weight, you might play with working that position into it. If you're lucky enough to have something heavier, you can be a little bit more standard with that movement. The second exercise is going to be goblet squats with a Cossack variation. So I'll start nice and wide in my squat position here. I'm going to go towards my right side. I like to, if you can see my left foot there, I like to roll up onto my heel. So I'm going to sit into a squat position here. This takes quite a bit of flexibility. So a lot of folks are not going to have the option really to get into this deep Cossack position. So I'll show you some variations. Variation 1 is obviously just doing this without load, maybe modifying the range of motion. The main thing is focusing on this leg. This leg should look like a standard squat the whole time. You know, you might have some variations what happens to this leg, whether you keep your foot down, toe up, but focus on the knee tracking and the heel staying flat on this side. If you really don't have that option, what you can play with today is a wider stance squat. So take your feet out about a stance or 2 wider than you would typically do your squats. You're not going to get the same depth necessarily, but I'm going to really drive my knees out into that bottom position, hold for a couple counts, and then come back up. Okay? So then for our workout, we've got an interval workout where we've got 3 minutes of work followed by 3 minutes of rest repeated for 3 cycles of about 3 different exercises. The first exercise is going to be 8 each arm of a single arm dumbbell or kettlebell front squat. I'm going to rack my dumbbell and kettlebell again as we typically do. Make sure you're not just stacking it vertical or resting on your shoulder. You want to be active in this process, this rack. I'm going to come on down nice and slow and then come back up. So I'm going to hit all 8 on one side. And then I'm going to bring that down. The second exercise is going to be a bike crunch. So this is kind of old school fitness here. The main thing that you guys want to think about, let me go this way, is maintaining an active crunch. So this top part of your body, you want to focus more than anything the whole time you're in this 20 rep range. That I'm thinking about keeping my shoulders off the floor and really focusing kind of on the top end of this hollow body position. So from here, I'm going to have one leg extended, one leg tucked. I'm going to cross my elbow to knee. I'm just going to alternate for 20 reps total. As you do this, again, if you go a little bit slower, hold your end range, making sure that you're getting as much of your shoulder blades, keeping as much of your shoulder blades off the floor as you can. That's going to be a lot more effective for creating that tension that you're looking for. You'll grab the dumbbell, hit the other side, same thing, 8 front squats. And the last piece we have is, what is it again? Oh, the alternating runner. So we get a little conditioning here. I'm just going to use a little skateboard. Any elevated surface is fine. I'm just going to pick one foot. My left foot here is going to start, so I'm going to count reps with that left foot. So I'm just going to go nice and light touch. So when I count 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm just going to pick one leg. Be light on your feet. You're not really putting any weight on top of whatever object you're using. You're just tapping with your feet. While you do that, try to move quickly, but be as kind of light as you can on your feet as possible.